who wants to hate Mondays? Like, that's the worst. If you...
Yeah, I know. We hear that all the time. We're like, what's wrong with Monday?
Yeah, I love Monday. Mondays
kids go back to school,
sweet.
Man.
It's the best. Hey, welcome to Smart AF. I'm your host, Torie Mathis. We have got a great show for you today, so let's get started. You know what I think one of the coolest things about being an entrepreneur is?
Cash money.
Well, yeah, but yeah, that would make a bad video, though. Money, the end.
For sure.
The coolest thing, best thing about being an entrepreneur, having your own business, is that you get to choose how you want to do it. I've been reading this book. You're reading it, right? It's a one-person
millionaire,
$1 million business, something like that. If you want to know, I can find out. And what I like about it is that it's kind of really like, we've always done this and we've kind of made our business how we want it. But they were talking about that if, like, to grow your business to $1 million, like, if you don't want a lot of employees, like, don't have a lot of employees. Like, you don't have to, there's not some rule that says, if you want to have a successful business, you have to have X amount of employees. Like, it's just not necessary. You just got to figure it out, which is not always the easy part, but I mean, it can totally be done how you want it.
You don't even need $1 million to get that.
Well, no. But if you want your business, if your business isn't how you want it to be, it is your fault because you let it get to where you don't want it to be.
Shame on you.
Like, no shame on anybody. Sean Mathis, you be nice. For example, Sean Mathis started a new business 3 years ago and put himself
almost
there.
4 years ago now.
Almost 4. Crazy. But he put himself there. Like, that he had to be there. And he discovered after being there that he does not want to be there and be the guy taking the money and giving the tickets and saying, welcome. Like, obviously it had to happen, but you discovered you didn't want to be that person and you figured out how not to be that person.
It's not that I didn't want to do that. It's that I have other things I could be doing. Like, it was a waste of my time to do it every day. Because I still do it, I just don't do it every day because there's a lot of other things I can be doing that are much more beneficial with my time than standing there or sitting there and sometimes by myself. Not to mention the commute and all that kind of crap that doesn't even pertain.
Well, again, though, as a business owner, if it was important for you that you're like, I never want to commute, you can figure it out. And make a business where you never have to get in your car. Like, it could totally happen. I think that's one of the coolest things about, you can make your own hours, you can make your own schedule, you can work as hard as you want, as easy as you want. Like, you can hustle and hustle your little butt off, or you can be chill and be cool. And if that's your style, then you can figure out how to make it work how you want it to work. You want to be home at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when your kids get off of school, like, you can figure out how to make that happen. But you can't do that if you work for somebody else. And I think people give away their power that they have in their business because they've heard that somewhere that there's a way they're supposed to do it. And there's no book. There's no book that says, when you're an entrepreneur, this is how you have to do it. Like, you don't have to.
There's no book for that.
There's no book. I mean, there's books that you can get advice, but it doesn't mean that that is how you have to run your business. Running your business when you start is hard. Like, even if, like, you went and got an MBA or you went and got a marketing degree, like, there's so much going on that you really, it's kind of like a trial and error. But I think if you try to figure out what you want out of your business a little bit ahead of time, then you have like an arrow and a direction getting you where you want to be.
So slow success is better than fast success because you could wind up getting so successful so quickly that you don't have the time to figure all that kind of stuff out. So, you know, what is success? Most people are immediately going to jump to money,
what you said.
Right? So you're going to think, hey, I'm successful because I just made a shit ton of money super quick. Meanwhile, you're absolutely miserable because you're working all the time. You're not seeing your friends. You're not seeing your family.
Absolutely. That is what that, okay.
Your health goes to crap.
Speaking of money, okay, in the book, it said that, and I told you this morning, the guy they were talking about made $1.7 million. And he said, and he made $350,000 profit. And he said, well, if I can double the money that the business makes, then I should be able to triple my profit. So he worked his tail off. And in order to double the revenue for the business, he had to hire like 20 people. Like it totally wasn't what he wanted. And he made $50,000 more in profits. Like that's it. So he like had to actually step back and say, okay, so now I have 5 million or 3 million in revenue, but I'm not where I want to be. And so he was actually able to backtrack and get rid of all the people that he hired because that wasn't what he wanted. And then he's like, I'm paying myself good money. I'm not going to work myself to the bone for just a little bit more. But it did, and it happened fast, but he was able to backtrack it, luckily. But he was at least able to figure out, like, this is what was important for me. And as it turned out, it wasn't just a shit ton of revenue. It was that I want to run it a little bit leaner and still make good money, and you can do that.
That's like for us, too. We've had our ups and downs of borderline more clients than we could handle, back down to, all of a sudden, holy cow, we need a couple more clients.
For sure.
And that stress level is brutal on both spectrums. So, that was towards the beginning. We've been in business, 14 years now? So
I'm going to start kicking. Yes, Sean.
You're going to shake things up,
things.
man. You got to have that opportunity to go through and figure out, how you want this. So now you're able to turn clients away and forecast, future jobs and keep more of a steady income coming in and pivot and, change what you're doing because you know exactly what you want to do now versus, we might have the mentality of, well, we got to go design more websites, which, ultimately you can only do so many, which means that we've got to hire more people. And then we got to maintain that level because you got to make it so that all those people can feed their families. And it's not necessarily.
You got to decide if that's what you want, but that doesn't mean like you have to do it that way to be successful. Like you don't have to have a bunch of employees if that's not what you want. You don't have to make $1 million in revenue if that's not really what you want. Like there's these fake goals that came from somebody in the sky or something that says like, this is what it means to be successful as being an entrepreneur. And maybe that's not what it is for you.
$1 million sounds cool though.
It does in theory. If I made $1.7 million and I only made $350,000 profit, I don't know if I would be like,
kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of money switching hands. And you feel like a bank. We did that for a while. Like we made a lot of money,
banks
a lot of money, but then there wasn't a lot left over. I felt like we were just shuffling money to other people, that it just came kind of through the business rather than coming into the business. And like that definitely wasn't what worked for us, but we had to see that and then make those changes from there. I think that's
the increase in whatever your overhead winds up being
sometimes isn't worth it. And you got to decide if it's worth it. Like if you want a lot of overhead because of fancy office and employees or whatever those things are for you, then that's cool. But that's not what you need.
We work in a barn.
Exactly, because that's what's important to us. The barn life.
The barn.
I love barns. Why not? Barn life. # barn life.
That's right.
The other cool thing, and if you work for somebody else, especially in like a services type of business, you just have to service the clients that come to you. But being an entrepreneur, again, you get to decide what kind of clients you want. Like you get to market specific to the ones that you want. You want to work with moms, then you can market to moms and make your whole business around moms. Want to market to people that love barns? Like there's lots of people that want to live in barns and work in barns. Like you could market to barn people. You want to work with people that buy chickens, not to eat, but to have them as pets? Like you can have a whole business about chicken people. I want chickens.
Chicken people.
People who love chickens.
Nice.
There might be another word for them.
I always just think of crab people.
Crab people. You can have that kind of business too. You can make your business exactly how you want it. It just takes time to figure it out. And you kind of have to figure it out. You can't just willy-nilly let it happen and be like, I don't have a business I like. Figuring out what matters to you and what's important is going to make you have a business you love. Not hate. Who wants to hate Mondays? Like, that's the worst. If you...
Yeah, I know. We hear that all the time. We're like, what's wrong with Monday?
Yeah, I love Monday. Mondays
kids go back to school, man.
Sweet. It's the best. Like, Tuesdays are a little bit better sometimes because I have my class at the gym, but Mondays are awesome. Like, I don't live for the weekends. I like the whole week on purpose. Like, I made it this way. I made this.
Well, the other thing is, like, you don't know what you don't like until you know. You don't know until you know. So you might create a business that you find out that isn't how you want to run it. So then you got to make that decision and backtrack if you need to. Pivot, do something different.
We did it. We've hired employees. I've had employees. I like an assistant. I like a little bit, but I don't want to commute, and I don't want to have a lot of employees right now. I have children.
All that.
That's enough. Like, I like...
To find another you is not easy. Like Torie, when she worked for another company right before, like, she was the perfect employee.
I was the right-hand man, and I was good at being the right-hand man.
But to find that, it's not easy. And so what happens is the employee does not have the same motivation as you. And honestly, why would they? It's not their business. So you gotta account for that. They're not going to work as hard as you. They might not be as efficient as you. They might not even come close to doing it how you would have done it.
I think there's some people, though, that they are team builders and that's their thing, and they love people and they're outgoing and they're huggers, and if that's you, then you can probably do it, but like, it doesn't have to be that way to be successful. I'm not a hugger. It's cool. Especially if it's coronavirus. Not hugging anybody. All right, I'd still hug everybody. I don't care.
With the mask.
That'd be creepy. Masks freak me out. Make your business how you want it. Figure out what's important to you. Figure out like your big 3 things. Like, what are these things that like are really important to you? What are these things that are absolute no-goes? No-go for me, I don't want a big team. I don't want to commute. Like, these are things that are important to me. And really kind of honing in on these things made like a huge difference. It took time. It makes you love Mondays.
But then you got to join a gym, so it's your only excuse to leave the house.
That's true. Otherwise, when we just worked out at home and stuff like that, I never left the house. To go to the grocery store, maybe. Or you would do it for me.
I usually do it.
Yeah. Make it how you want it. Yeah. If you want to get smart tools to build your business, go to besmartaf.com.